Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with Rethink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 51. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at Rethink Coaching. And as always, thanks so much for sharing your time with me. Time is our greatest asset, and I just appreciate that you're investing your time with me. So today I want to talk to you about a concept that I've used multiple times in my business and in my life that has really helped me out. And I just want you to think about something. We're progressing rapidly through the year, and we are assessing, a lot of us are assessing where we are versus where we thought we would be. And we feel maybe sometimes a little static or stuck. And I think about when that happens to me with the things that I use in life. Like, for example, we all have a laptop or a computer. And sometimes it just gets a little funky. And you do this great reset, right? Control-Alt-Delete, you reset the computer, it erases stuff you don't need, it clears out memory, it does all kinds of great stuff. And when it turns back on, it's running a different way than it did 5 minutes ago before you did this great reset. And I think about that in terms of ourselves. Are we doing a reset on ourselves to help fix what's going on, to kind of clear out the cache, clear out the history, clear out the thoughts, clear out the static, and treating ourselves in a way like that to get back on track? And I'm going to talk to you today about doing the great Control-Alt-Delete on yourself and looking at doing a 30-day reset. And I love doing things on small timelines. And 30 days is a very small timeline and one that allows us to get a lot done. And we have a start and an end. We've got a lot of great things going on about this 30-day reset. And so I want to walk you through the 5 phases of what it looks like to do a reset for yourself, because here's what I love. You're going to be picking up this podcast the 3rd week of August, and September is the last month of quarter 3. So if you're running a business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a real estate agent, if you're a real estate leader, whatever you're doing, we're going to be heading into Q4, physical calendar year Q4 here pretty quick. Wouldn't it be awesome just to take the month of September? And if you're hearing this much after this time period, doesn't matter. Wouldn't it be great to take 30 days to do kind of a cleanse, a reset, so that you can approach the remainder of your year or wherever you're starting or stopping in a way that you can get different results? So I know for myself, when I do this, and I'm going to say this, and I don't want it to sound ego. However, I'd like to think I know better as a coach. And at the end of the day, team, I run a business. One of my businesses is real estate coaching. And I've done it for over a decade. And I like to think that I figured it out. What I know is I have figured it out, yet as a human, I sometimes will get sidetracked. As a human, I will find myself defaulting to old behaviors that just aren't serving me. And every single time that I've done a reset, it has been the coolest experience for me in personal growth. I've done it in my life. I've done it in my business. I've helped clients do this great reset, and it is just amazing it's like a snapshot moment, and then we get to choose what we want to do moving forward. So resets have been really powerful for me. I don't wait until September to do them. If I'm feeling myself running a little slower, not getting the results I want to have, or being really kind of unaware of what I'm doing, I'll do a reset. So let's dive in and talk about the 5 phases of a reset. So phase number 1 is really just some self-reflection. And I know that sounds simple. And what I want to encourage you to do, though, is to do self-reflection a little bit differently this time. So for the sake of this podcast, I'm going to talk to you as if you're a real estate agent, real estate leader, entrepreneur, okay? And what we want to look at is to have some self-reflection on what we have been doing leading up to this point. What are we doing for lead gen? What are we doing for lead follow-up? How are we converting appointments? Really just take a look at things. And this is what I'm going to say that might surprise you. Only go back a couple of days. Don't go back, starting in January, I did this, and 7 months ago, I did this, because your brain is going to really do a job of tricking you. And you're not going to be able to necessarily remember what you actually did. You might remember the story your brain is creating to make you not feel so bad about what you didn't do. So this self-reflection, you might go back a day or two, and that's it. And that's okay, because guess what? Though that previous few days, previous week, whatever you're comfortable doing, and I wouldn't go back much further than that, is going to be a good snapshot. You might find yourself saying, oh my gosh, the last couple of days just weren't a good sample because I had this, and this going on. Or, I wasn't feeling my best. Or you might come up with a bunch of excuses. And here's what I'm going to invite you to do. It's a snapshot of how you showed up. Stop creating a story. Stop creating excuses. Stop trying to find your perfect day that you had one time 30 days ago that was just amazing. Stop searching for that day and start looking at the previous few days and just really look at what you've done. And so if we're looking through the lens of business as a real estate agent, I would be looking back at my lead generation tactics. Did I do what I've committed to do? What worked? What didn't work? How many contacts? The usual. I would just really reflect on that, because here's why this is important. And I'm going to talk about this a couple times as we go throughout this today. Why it's important is, as humans, we tend to default to autopilot. We tend to default to what we've always done in the past, even though we know differently, or we might know better, that we're looking to do something different to get a different result. Your brain's really amazing how it will seduce you into falling back to old behaviors. 92% ish of what we do as human beings is a direct result of conditioned habitual behavior. I want you to hear that again. Around 92% of what we do as humans, meaning business owner or human being self-coaching, is that it's the result of conditioned habitual behavior. And so with that being said, can you see how it's easy to sometimes slide into old habits, old behaviors, because it's comfortable and it's familiar? And remember, your brain's always looking for what's the most comfortable. It doesn't want the chaos. It doesn't want you to do different things that put you at risk. It wants you to stay in that. So 92% of what we do is conditioned habitual behavior. It's super easy to fall back into a default mode or go into that autopilot mode, and you don't even know it's happened, because it's happening on an unconscious level. Your brain is just a brilliant thing. Sometimes it's not doing us the biggest favors. So really sit with it. The other thing I'm going to say is, don't judge. This is not a time to judge. This is really just a time of self-reflection, and to allow whatever it is you were doing for the last few days to come up, and not try to judge, not try to justify, not try to whatever. It's really just to extract a sampling of what you're currently doing. So in business, what have I done to generate leads, to market, to secure leads, to get new business? What have I done? And sit with that. To do a true reset, you have to be willing to sit in the truth. And it may not be what you thought it was, and it's okay. We're not going to be able to undo what's already done, but we're certainly going to be able to impact where we're headed. So sit in the truth, sit in the muck. If it doesn't feel good, it's okay. Sit in that truth without judgment, because we're really looking to collect information so that we can move forward. So phase one may take a minute. Phase one may take you a moment to say, I am ready to do this. I'm ready for a reset. And I'm going to be okay with having a true look to get real and get right with my business, with my life, whatever you're doing this reset for. And I am going to allow myself to sit in that truth and not hide, not lie, not justify, not excuse, not, oh, don't count yesterday, it was a bad day. To really just sit in that moment. That's where your greatest opportunity for a healthy reset is going to happen. Phase number two, really need to look at what is it that you want to do? Or maybe what was it that you set a goal for back in Q4 of last year, and had a vision of what you wanted it to be, and to just sit with that and to project into that space of what you would like it to feel like. Okay, we're doing a reset. So get real with the truth, and then sit with that old vision, that old goal, that excitement you had at one time when you created a business plan, or you created a vision, or you created your future self, whatever that is. Ask yourself, what do you want? Is it still that? If it's not that, it's okay, change it. But do not settle just because we might be behind goal or we're not where we thought we would be. Really sit in that space of, what do I want, or what did I want when I started out on this journey to create this amazing business for this year, or to create my amazing life for this year. And allow all of the feels that are going to happen when you do this, because we may have been living with this thought of, oh my gosh, this is what I'm going to do. But yet our reality is, I'm not getting anywhere near that. And I'm going to go do things, old habits that make me feel good. I want you to really sit with the emotion and the feels of the vision that you created, what you wanted. And if it's changed because something has changed in your life or your business or whatever, change it. I'm just going to invite you not to totally erase it, or not to say, I'm going to go from making $1 million this year, I'm going to adjust down to just making, 700,000 or 500,000, to allow yourself to experience those emotions of what it would be like had we achieved that. What it will be like when that date happens and we can say, hey, today's December 15th and this is what happened. So sit with what you want or what you did want. And sometimes we just have to remind ourselves of what that is. We talk about this. We've talked about this a lot. Your big why. Why are you doing this? This, to me, this phase 2 of what do you want is a mixture of both business goal and that why. What is it? And again, just sit and embrace it. Come to terms with the truth. And then what you must do in this phase, because it's great to create that feeling. It's great to create that new emotion. It's amazing to put yourself in the place that it's already happened. And now what we have to do to come back to reality is to spend a moment with coming to terms with who you're going to have to become for this to be a reality. I love goals. I love looking at the future. I love experiencing all the feels of what it's going to be like when I achieve the goal, and the impact I get to make, and all the great people I get to impact in my life. But I must get real about it and ask myself, who do I have to become? And during this reset, when we're looking at phase 1, where we're getting real with the truth, and now phase 2 of who we want to be, we have to take a moment to acknowledge the person we're going to have to become that we're not. And that might just be as simple as, I'm going to have to become a person that follows my schedule, holds myself accountable to the activities. I am going to have to create a win the day. I am going to become this person that gets this goal. This is who I must become. So we've got to sit with those two things. Who do you want to be? What did you want to be when you set your goal? And then really just acknowledge, hey, I got to change, and I'm going to have to change in this way. I'm going to have to honor my 3 lead generation sources. I'm going to have to honor my lead follow-up. I must do what I agreed to do. And in order to do that, this is what needs to happen. And we start looking at those activities. So that's phase 2. Phase 3 is, I'm going to be honest with you, this 30 days, and again, we chose 30 days because work expands to the time allowed. If I said, hey, let's just do a reset this quarter, you probably wouldn't do anything until the last 30 days. So we're just going to pick a beginning and an end. We're going to start here. We're going to end here. It's 30 days. It's going to be intense. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to challenge you, but it's only 30 days. All right. And what I love about 30 days is you will see immediate results. And I don't want to peel back the curtain too much, but honestly, if you look at this as it's just a 30-day experiment, just a 30-day reset, your brain feels much more comfortable about just this time period. But the reality of it is we're creating who you must be to move forward beyond the 30 days. So I don't want you to do something that, make a change, become somebody, or doing things that you're like, yeah, I only got to do it for 30 days. And once I get it done, I'm done. Then I got to go back to my old ways. That's not what this is about. This is about a reset, becoming aware of your truth, becoming aware of who you want to be, becoming aware of what you must do to be that person, and then allowing yourself 30 days of intense behavior to experience it and actually be the person you wanted to be. Actually do the activities that you agreed to do to get you towards that goal. I don't want you to think that, oh my gosh, it's just 30 days. I got to get this done. And when I'm done, it's going to be, phenomenal. And this is really, if I'm truthful with you, this is really going to be a reflection of how we get to move forward. Now, the cool thing is doing this in this intense, short window, we're going to get a ton of feedback, because you're actually going to be in action. You're actually going to be taking action. You're actually going to be able to see your results and to really almost strategize in real time. That's what I love about the 30 days. It's quick and dirty. It is a great snapshot, and it allows us to really accelerate our results in a good way and learn what works and what doesn't work. So I love phase 3. Just know that it's intense, and we chose a 30-day time period on purpose. Phase number 4, this is where you might have to do some thought work. So again, if you're not familiar with the thought flow model, please go back and listen to episode number 1. When you think about this, and you go back to phase number 1, okay, so we're going to go back to phase 1 where we just do some self-reflection and we get real and have honesty with ourselves and acknowledge maybe what we've done that's fallen back into old behaviors or habits. It may conjure up some not so amazing thoughts because it's been happening on an unconscious level. Now we're pulling it forward. So you may sit in that and go, oh my God, I'm an idiot. I can't believe I did that. And I'm talking about myself, not talking about you. You might sit there and say, I feel so stupid. I can't believe I did. You may have a moment. So I'm just going to invite you to make sure in phase 1, you really did sit with your thoughts. You might do a thought dump. You might look at the unconscious conscious model of the thought flow. You might sit in this and really have some negative thoughts about yourself or experience some negative feelings. And that's okay. You got to let all that process in phase 1, but we don't want to just stir it up and not do anything with it. So in phase 4, you may want to go back and visit some of the disempowering thoughts you had in phase 1 and dispel them and reframe them and turn them into positive. All right. Because you are feeling a certain way. And I will tell you, when I've done this, I'm like, I just feel so stupid that I let this happen again. I can't believe that I slid out of that activity that I knew was going to work, but I just went back to old stuff. I'm an idiot. I've had those thoughts before. And so think about the thought flow model. Think about how you can use that to help you with those disempowering thoughts that we discover in phase 1. Even though we're not going to judge, even though we're not going to, look to justify them, I do want you to clean them up, because if not, it's really challenging. Phase 5 is the strategic part, or the strategies. All right. So we're going to go through all this. We're going to be doing this reset. We're going to think about, we're going to do the reflection. We're going to do all of this work, but then we've got to bring it to life and breathe life into it. So most of you would have a business plan or a strategy for your activities, and that's great. And you might grab that. But what I'm really looking for you to do is remember going back to the vision of who you'd have to become. And for example, again, if I'm that agent and I say, okay, really to do it this time and to change things over the next 30 days, I must honor my time blocks. I must honor my lead generation. I must honor my lead follow-up. And really put those strategies down. Because for me to just say, hey, I'm going to get back to and I'm going to honor lead generation, that's very 40,000 feet. And I'm most likely not going to be able to implement. I want you to implement after this Control-Alt-Delete on yourself, after this great reset. So you've got to make sure your strategies are in place. So in the instance that I gave you the example, I would get my calendar out and I would schedule the activities of the person I know I need to become to get the results that I want and get out of 40,000 feet. So I may say on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from 9 until 10, I'm going to do just database calls. On Tuesday, Thursday, I am going to do circle prospecting, or I'm going to do for sale by order, whatever it is, the activity that you're going to do, you breathe life into it. Don't just say it, get a strategy together for it. So those are the 5 phases for you if you would like to do a reset. I love doing it right now. I know some people are like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to hit goal this year. And so why bother? I think there's some magic in Q4 about doing this reset that will test your resolve. Q4 is a phenomenal time of year for us as human beings. We're going into the fall. We've got a ton of great holidays, religious, family, all of that stuff in. And if we do not do this reset and we just kind of continue ambling through, we're really putting ourselves at risk, because the thought might be, I don't know if I want to do that to myself over the holidays. I don't know if I want to do that and miss out on. I don't know. And I promise you, if you put together the strategy correctly, you can do it all. You can have time for holidays, you can have time for family, and you can actually feel some amazing momentum built by just doing this reset and getting the strategies in place. So step 1, phase 1 is to really self-reflection. Don't judge, analyze and look at the thoughts that you're having. Look at the activities that you were doing over the last few days. Don't go too far back. Phase 2, reacquaint yourself with who you want to be, what you want to do, and maybe what you forecasted at the beginning of the year. Make sure that still excites you. Make sure that that is still something that would move you forward. Phase 3 is just lean into this 30 days and treat it as a great kind of a laboratory experiment. We're going to go into this vacuum of 30 days. And it is going to be intense, and we're going to be challenged, and we're going to get uncomfortable, and we're going to want to quit, and we're going to want to do all these things. But really in phase 3 is just acknowledge it's 30 days for us to get the best lessons possible that allows this reset to be impactful as we move forward. Phase 4, you might need to do some thought work, thought cleanup, using the thought flow model to take care of those disempowering thoughts that we uncovered in phase 1. And then the last phase, which, is one of my favorite phases, is when you really get to sit down and put your strategy and bring life to it, to make it come to life, get it off of the paper and get it into action, get it out of your head, onto paper, onto a strategy for action. So those are the 5 phases. Now, if you would like more guidance on this, I'm going to do a 30-day course starting in September. So it's coming up where we're going to do a little bit deeper dive on this. This was a snapshot of what this looks like to do a reset. But if you want to be with a group of people who are looking to do the same thing, make sure you look at my Instagram, make sure you look at our website. There is going to be a 30-day reset course offered. It's going to be very affordable. I just want you to be able to get it done before we move into Q4. So pay attention to that. If you need help finding it, just email me, tony@rethinkcoaching.com. You can find me on Instagram, Tony M. Caliendo, where everything is listed from courses that we're offering and promoting at the time. It's there. And of course, if you're like, hey, I don't need the course, but I got a question about phase 3, reach out to me and feel free to ask the question. Team, I love this. And I want you to embrace this. And it may take you a moment to allow yourself to agree to going through a 30-day intense workshop. And that's really what it is. And we are going to learn so much in that 30 days that it's going to change everything for you as you move forward. Now, like everything else that we coach to, it's not a one and done. So you may have to do resets every quarter. You might have to do a reset twice a year. You might just need to do a reset when you need to do a reset. So if you notice things are not going the way you wanted to and you're struggling, it is a good sign and a good time to do a reset. So get your Control-Alt-Delete buttons for you, clear things out, and create the space forward, team. It's truly, truly one of the most powerful 30 days that you're going to experience, whether you do it on your own or you do it with me. Can't wait to see you all next week. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.